Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a peek at a new writing curriculum that we just purchased recently. If you've been following for very long, you may know that I've kind of went back and forth with different writing programs before. I have looked at this one for over a year and I decided to go ahead and jump in and give it a try. Now, quick disclaimer, I did get a very small discount for purchasing this, but be sure and stick around to the end because I'm going to be talking about the cost and things because that is definitely something you want to consider if you are getting this, because even with my discount, this was still a hefty price tag. But something that's really cool about it is that it will last you for many, many years. So if that is something that you are interested in, I would ask it that you stick around and let's check this out. All right, if this is your first time here, I am a homeschool mom to a fifth grader. We love all things books, homeschool, and sharing our journey with you. And if that is something you're interested in, I would love if you consider hitting that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. So yes, writing, that is a subject that can be difficult to pinpoint what exactly might work for your student, what doesn't work for your student. And there are just so many different options. And unfortunately, most of them are rather hefty on the price tag. So this has a very, very unique approach to it, and that is something that ultimately sold me on it because the way that it is taught, you can interweave it into so many of your subjects. Therefore, you don't have to solely devote a chunk of time just to writing and that's all you're doing. You can do history and writing, science and writing, all sorts of things. Now, there are a few ways that you can get these books. Now, right now, what is available is the student book comes in a concealed O-ring binding. Okay, that is one way, and I know that the printing has changed from time to time depending on what is available, all the sorts of different things that happen in printing. These may change. So right now, what is available in the teacher book is you can get the O-ring binding, or you can get this teacher book as a soft cover book. So by doing both of the O-ring bindings, you can see that they are pretty much the same size here. The student book is a little bit beefier than the teacher's book, but they're a nice hardback book. So it's going to last you. And that is one good thing about it going to last you, is because this program can be used from your first initial needing a writing program all the way through. And so let's jump over here to the table of contents really quick. Now, right now we are in the student book, and I don't know that there would be a giant difference in our table of contents. Let's see here. We've got our introduction, frequently asked questions, editing guide. So that is going to be a little bit of our difference here. So if you look, the teacher's book starts with introduction, frequently asked questions, editing guide, scope and sequence, then the stages. Here with the student book, it just jumps from introduction to the stages. We end with worksheets, quick reference, glossary. Teacher book, we end with worksheets, quick reference, glossary. Now, really quickly on these bindings, because honestly, that is something I went back and forth with a lot, is once I decided to buy this program, what binding did I want? While this O-ring binding, listen to that. Hear that? Okay, that drives my daughter bonkers. I'm hoping the longer that we use this, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's not good. Like, I literally just got the chills with it. So hopefully with use that will die down. But I will say that for her, this is awful. She hates the O-ring binding. Now, granted, to use it, you'll see that it lays flat. You can squeak over to a level and it does lay nice and flat. I love that. I'm sure had I got the notebook size, the soft side, it wouldn't have done that. One, that's not even an option for the teacher, but if you have a sound sensitivity going on, this, and it does it for the teacher's book too. So it's not just like the student book. So it's very, very squeaky. I will say it doesn't seem like the teacher's book is quite as noisy as the student book is, but that's a big thing to think about. It really does bother her a lot. So I try to have it like opened to the page that it needs to be so that it's not super duper squeaky. But yeah, she dislikes that very much. But let's go ahead and we'll look at the table of contents, because this is set up so that the student could ultimately teach themselves. It is taught to them, wrote out to them, talks about the book borders that you're going to see. So these book borders, if you look over here on this side, you look over here on this side, as they go, these sections fill in. If you look really closely, you can see that that's not very bright right there. But if I go all the way to the back, it starts getting brighter. So the further, so the further you are into the program, the more these are going to fill up. And so that kind of helps them know where they are in the program. So both sides we've got like our little paragraph structure, and then this opposite side, on the left side are the ways you will learn to vary the structure of your paragraphs, and on the right side are all the sentence patterns that will happen. So again, this is our student book. It starts out very, very basic with the power sentence. And if you've done any of the writing revolution, anything like that, they talk about the importance of, if you can't write a proper sentence, you're not going to be able to write a proper paragraph. And so that is what this is starting out with, is let's write a good paragraph. And so honestly, you could start this with probably a pretty young age. I don't know if it exactly says what age to start with. So let's just put that over to the side for just a minute, and let's go to a frequently asked question, and that is my student ready for write by number? So before we get super crazy into this, let's go ahead and jump here, because your student may be way too young for this, but you know what? It's never too early to start researching next year or 5-year curriculums away, okay? So let's jump in really quick right here. So the author says that the whole premises of this program, Write by Number, is that students must learn to write in a logical order by combining physical readiness with intellectual development. First, they must be able to physically read, not just decode, and write. Then, as they begin reading and are exposed for the first time to written language, they can begin creating the most basic structure of writing, a sentence, which is taught in stage 1. Okay. Now this may be where you stay at stage 1 for a long time. That's fine. And so you will go at your own speed. And there's also little sections in here to let you know when it's time to go to the next one. Is Write by Number a master base or proficiency based? And it is a mastery based program. Does it include grammar and spelling? So they will learn some grammar and spelling throughout, and the scope and sequence kind of shows you the things that they will be learning as far as like apostrophes, things like that. But ultimately you will need to like create a spelling program, I would think, if you're going to use this. And for me personally, we are using Fix-It Grammar with this program. Can I use Write by Number with my current language arts? And absolutely, yes. And that's another good thing, is that this can be used with more things. So if I want to use another writing program later on, this can kind of tie in with that still. So you can use this to enhance a writing curriculum, or this can be your sole writing curriculum. So it can kind of go either way. On maybe you have a student that is going to be really heavily going towards a language arts sort of thing, or you have one that just kind of needs to know how to write well, but that's not going to be their sole purpose, is to do a lot of writing. So, depending, you may have different levels that you are looking for. Can I use just parts of a Write by Number? Well, this is with any curriculum. Yes, you can use parts. Are you going to have gaps? Yes. So keep that in mind. Is Write by Number going to add yet another thing to my day? And that is absolutely what I have found is no, it's not. I love that we are combining our writing with so many other subjects. So many other subjects. So if we can just do just fun, free writing with this program, or we can do a very detailed history writing with this program. That is my favorite thing that I am enjoying so far with this. So can I use Write by Number in a classroom, and will Write by Number help with standardized testing? Yes, to both of those. Now, another page that we have here is the editing guide. You do have the introduction at the very beginning that I didn't really talk about, and it was talking about, yes, you can teach writing. and there's not just a ton of rules that you have to have known in order to teach writing. There are things on the internet such as Grammarly that can kind of help edit and catch those things. So if you don't feel like you're very confident in writing, this can also kind of help you along the way, and how you could teach your child even if you can't write yourself. So there's different little introduction things in here to kind of help you with that. Why they say this program works. I have talked to multiple people that really believe that this worked really, really well for their student. There have been public teachers that said that this would be a great program to use. Again, it's all up to what you think, but I do want to give you a good look at this, and you can decide whether this is a good program for you. Another huge pro that I've already mentioned is how long this program will last. Yes, it's expensive, but yes, it's going to last you for a long, long time. So this is to take them all the way through high school. That is what it is intended to do. And we'll look at that scope and sequence. All right, we've got our editing marks. So this kind of helps you as you're editing their papers. You can put these little lines, and then that way they know what to fix. The more that you do it, the more that they'll realize it. Again, we do fix it grammar, so some of these we're already like knowing how to do, but others have been new to us. Our scope and sequence. So let's zoom in here, because this is what's important, right? We want to know what is being taught. So we have over here on this side, it is the writing structure. So we're going to be working with the sentence, the topic or first power sentence. Then we're going to be going to a 3-sentence paragraph, sentence relationships, a 5-sentence paragraph, supporting details. Then we've got paragraph with 5 sentences, paragraph with 5 sentences, again with 5 sentences, but then we're varying the sentence patterns. Step 7 is we're going to have a 7-sentence paragraph where we're varying the patterns. And then you'll look over here and there's a few extra things that are going to show up over here too. Then by stage 8, we have our 7 sentences. We're moving the topic sentence. We're doing an introductory sentence. We're varying the patterns again. Then we are on 4 paragraphs. So at stage 9, we're doing an essay. We're varying those patterns again. Stage 10, we have a 5-paragraph essay. Stage 11, we have an 8-paragraph essay, and then at stage 12, there are essay outlines. So you can see we are going through the gamut of things here. So this is why I'm telling you that they say that this will take you all the way through high school with this program. Our scope and sequence for our grammar. So if you decided to use this as your grammar curriculum too, this is what you're going to learn. And so I'll try not to move too much here. So if you want to like screenshot this or something so that you can see, but you'll see that starting on number 5 that we're dealing with linking verbs and helping verbs, action verbs, adverbs, appositives, adjectives, verb tenses. I mean, it's all through here. Lots and lots of grammar is being used. There are worksheets in the back that I'll show you to kind of go along with a lot of these things as well. All right, leaving our scope and sequence, we're looking at our first power sentence, and let's do a little bit of comparing between the teacher's book and the student book. Stage 1 for both teacher and student book, and it goes over what a first power sentence is. So this section up here in this box is actually repeated again down here. For the teacher, it's going over the goals, the objective, the readiness, the assessment, and differentiation here. So if your student may read and edit each other's work, read aloud student book to students with low reading comprehension. So again, if you're starting this a little bit lower or there's a learning difficulty, definitely work with them. You also have the option of where they can just kind of work with themselves. Students who are unable to handwrite may use assistive technology and or computers. So she gives a few little tips on if you need a little bit of extra help. Here is where Common Core standards are going to work into all of this if that's something that is interesting for you. And then we have our different teachers resources and our student materials. So they're going to be using their student book and lined paper or a spiral notebook, and that's the only extra thing that you're really going to have with this is another piece of paper. You're not going to write in these. So you can keep using these student after student after student because you don't write in these books. You get a different notebook for them to do their writing on. All right, we're jumping over here and it's giving us the summary, the goals, our first power sentence examples, how to teach this stage. For dependent learners, you're going to go and it gives you a script. The bold is what you're going to say, and then it gives you little excerpts that you can add into that. Independent learners, this is pretty much where you're going to just briefly be like, hey, this is what you're doing today. They're going to read through their stuff and then they're going to hand it over to you. You're going to grade it, all those sorts of things. Comes over here to the stage 1 assignment. It gives a student 1 sample, and then we have different worksheets that might help teach a lot of these things. So where we're working with the homophones of to, and to, capitalizing the first word, plurals, apostrophes, me, myself, and I, written and visual creations. So there's 9 different worksheets that it has, and then we have the evaluation. And then at the end of chapter 1, you have this checklist right here. Does the word or the first sentence. So you go through, and if they accomplished all of these and you feel that they are ready, they're going to the next level. And so at the end of each stage is a checklist. Once they're doing this proficiently, you go to the next level. Turn the page, and we have when to move to stage 2. And this is, again, the assignments can be finished without frustration. Errors in grammar, punctuation, and spelling are minimal or rare. This means that there might be 1 or 2 spelling corrections per day as a new vocabulary word is used. I like that it gives you a little bit more with that. Like, how many errors is okay? Is 1 okay? Is 2 okay? I kind of like that it gives you a little bit of something to jump with there. The first word of every sentence is capitalized, and every sentence ends with a proper punctuation. So you can see it begins rather easily. Now let's look at the student book. It's talking about the worksheets again. It has an assignment, and you can see that it has a nice little example here. So the student gets a really nice, clear example of what to do. So they're going to make sure that they have the date over here in the margin where it says number 1, do that. The second thing that they're going to do is write 1 sentence that uses the word to. And they have an example here. See where this one got corrected because it was incorrect. So they used the wrong to. Here you can see that the teacher added what should have been done, and then they will repeat these steps and they'll do it again until it is done. It does say to use a pen to try not to erase. That kind of thing helps it lock into their head. And I know that IEW is the same way. They push for using pens instead of pencils that can easily erase. Another sample of the sentence that was wrote. Then it has them a little checklist, like here, check your assignment before you turn it in. Did you capitalize the first word? Are the spacings proper in your sentences? Are they spelled correctly to the best of your knowledge? So I like that it kind of gives them a checklist also before turning it in. That way maybe, hey, they can catch some of their own stuff before, and then that's a lot better. Talks about why we're going to rewrite instead of erase. Again, it forces you to slow down. It helps you practice something correctly. And it does say that in the upper stages, some of these things will change. So if you have an older student, you may not be rewriting the whole 8 paragraphs of an essay or something like that. It does modify for those older ages, but here, or those upper levels, not ages. But here it is. We're building the foundation. We want to make sure that we're getting those first initial steps correct. We move over into stage 2, and that is where we have this first power sentence, which is what we were working on stage 1, but this time we're adding a second power sentence. And that is where we're going to have these power signal ideas. It goes through the same thing again, where it shows the examples for the student, worksheets that may help, the evaluation, when to move to stage 3, and then we have a student sample with special needs. So you can see where we had some rewriting, some different things that happened there. I love the when to move to the next stage. It's very helpful. Number 3, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in another step. So we went from a 1, 2, 2 to a 1, 2, 3, and it just continues on. Stage 4, you can see we're doing a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, but without there. So they can't use there in the sentence. So switching out our student book, let's jump back here to like one of the last stages maybe. Stage 11. So we've got an essay that is a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1. And so just from the little bit that we've done this, I am sure that this is a topic sentence. Then we have our second power sentence with our third power sentence, the pulling in that these are connected. Then we have another second power sentence, third power sentence, second power sentence, third power sentence, and then I'm sure this is our conclusion sentence. So it shows your different patterns that you're going to make. You can see that the coloring is slightly different at this stage. We're like a yellow. Back here we were kind of in like a bluish color, so the tones change a little bit. Again, it's telling the student, this is what you're going to do. You're going to have you're going to separate your second and third power ideas into paragraphs. Walks them all through. You can see we have lots of things lit up over here where we've done paragraph structure, paragraph variations, the essay structure, first power paragraph themes, third power paragraph themes, and then all of these grammar topics that we have touched on at this point. So at lesson 11, we have touched on 33 grammar programs. It goes through, it adds all of the information that we're going to need. Here is another sample where you can see we're not handwritten anymore. It's actually a typed version of this. So you can see how that has changed a little bit for the student. They're going to be looking at typing this instead of a handwriting situation. Then we have the assignments, and you can see we have assignment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For lesson 1. And so you can see that there's a different lesson within this lesson. So assignment stage 11, lesson 1. And then we have lesson 2, all in part of this stage right here. So it gets more detailed as it goes on. We're at lesson 6, and you can see now that we have covered 38 of our topics for grammar. So just in those few lessons in number 11, we went from 33 to 38. Then it comes to the final stage where it's going to start being essay construction. So that is the student book. They also have the worksheets, which I mentioned. There were the worksheets in the very back of the book here. So if you're working on 2, 2, and 2, again, all of these worksheets are going to be done on another piece of paper. So you don't write in these, the student doesn't write in these, you get another piece of paper, and that way you can continue to use. Now, the only thing that I have found with these worksheets is that some of it, I just feel like there could be a little bit more discussion, instruction for them. So with the student book, we're going to talk about the end of sentence punctuation. So this is kind of walking them through the worksheet. And then on the back is the practice. So there are quite a few, but that is the one thing I found is that I just felt like it was lacking a little bit on some of the instruction that would need to happen on those worksheets. Now let's jump over to our teacher's book. All right, jumping to the workbook section for the teacher's book. So here is that same 2, 2, and 2. It does not have the any of the what to do on this. This is only the answer. So there's no like breakdown of what this worksheet is. You only have the answers here. So for 2, 2, and 2, this is the sentence that they would have rewrote. The words in red are what they would have the correct answer for. And so that is how this whole worksheet goes. You don't have any explanation on these worksheets like you do on the student book, but it does have the correct sentences. Now, it doesn't really sometimes tell you why this is correct or why it isn't. Sometimes it does, but this is the one part that I'm not super crazy about, the worksheets, but overall, I'm very, very happy with this program. So in the very back, we've got like a quick reference, and then we have our glossary, and then that wraps up the curriculum. All right, let's talk about a few things first. I mentioned that it's pricey, okay? So what my price is and what your price is may be different. So at the time of doing this, you can see that when I go to their site, the Write by Number teacher book is $159.99 US dollar for the concealed wire binding. Or if you want the soft cover book, it is $99. Okay, that is just for your teacher book. So I find that to be kind of pricey, but again, this is going to last you for the whole time. So when you take that into account, it's not so pricey. Now, how much is the student book? So right now, at the time of this recording, there's only one option for the student book, and that is the concealed wire binding, and that is going to be $184.99 US dollars. Okay, that is pricey. So I did get a small discount, but it was still like over $300 for this program. So I understand having some ooh feeling by thinking about purchasing this. So One thing I did do before I reached out to Lorena about seeing if she wanted to be a part of this is I tried the 14 days for free. So one thing is usually I'm not going to get something if I'm not interested in it myself. So any program that I get is usually I'm reaching out to them because it's something that I'm truly interested in. So I downloaded the Try It Free for 14 days. And like I said, I've been on this for about a year. And so it was really something that I really, really liked the idea of. I liked the way that it worked. So just a few weeks ago, we used this to tie in with our Civil War units. We were working with the Civil War, and she was able to write out a very nice paragraph rather quickly, actually, using this 1, 2, 3 process that this is teaching. Now, guess what? You can make this really, really fun. Maybe you just want to have a fun day of writing, and you can be like, what are 2 reasons I enjoy playing Minecraft? First is I get to play with my friends. And so they use these first, second, thirds, these power sentence to create a paragraph really quickly, and it helps them keep their things in order. So they're not just bouncing all over the place. They're able to keep things in order of we have a topic sentence with 2 things. We're going to list that first thing. We're going to list that second thing, and then we're going to have something that connects with those. And that is what this program does. So I love that we don't have to sit down and have a writing lesson that takes us a whole hour or an hour and a half and then go do history or then go do science. We can read our lesson for the day and apply what was taught in our lesson to our history program. We can read our lesson and go apply that to our science program. So we're lumping things in. And I think if nothing else, we're always trying to get more in a day. And this is helping us do that. It gets done quickly, it gets done efficiently, and it gets done well. And so that is something I've really, really appreciated. Is that I am seeing improvement and I'm not seeing tears. And that is a win in my book. So while it is still expensive, it will last you for a long time. It is quality books, and it truly can help them write. So if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. Please, if you're considering this at all, check out the free 14 days. Don't go spending your hard-earned money without trying it first. Once you've tried it, then go for it if you see that it's working. For us, it did. It absolutely did. And I would have bought it with or without the little discount. Like I said, I already put a chunk of change down on it, but curriculum is expensive, and so that's why we watch these videos. Is it worth my money? For us, I truly believe that it is. Even using this for just one student, if this is what takes her all the way through high school, it was money well spent. And as I mentioned before, there's not tears involved, and that is excellent. So if this has been helpful, I ask that you give me a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you'd like to follow along with us, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.